Days before the Titanic hit the iceberg, there was a fire on board. Not a famous one. A coal fire, smoldering in a bunker below the waterline in the dark, where the passengers would never see it. One man had been ordered to put it out. He was still down there at 11:40 p.m. on April 14th, 1912, when the side of the ship tore open and the Atlantic came through. His name was Frederick Barrett. He lived. Most of the men beside him did not. This is the last 6 hours of his shift. Frederick Barrett signed on to the Titanic in Belfast on April 6th, 1912. He was 29 years old. His rank was leading stoker.
Can you read and write?
His station was Boiler Room 6. 4 days later, the Titanic left Southampton with 2,224 souls aboard. 280 of them worked in the engine department. They never appeared on the passenger lists. They were the men who made the ship move. The chief engineer was Joseph Bell. He had 24 engineers under him. Below them, the leading stokers, Barrett among them. Below the leading stokers, the firemen who fed the furnaces. Below the firemen, the trimmers who shoveled coal from the bunkers to the firemen. 3 watches stood in the boiler rooms, 4 hours each. A stoker worked 8 hours out of every 24. Boiler Room 6 had 4 boilers, 24 furnace doors, 8 firemen per shift. The bunker behind Boiler Room 6, the one with the smoldering fire, was Coal Bunker 6. April 14th, mid-morning. Barrett's watch. The boiler room temperature is over 100 degrees. The men work in trousers and undershirts, sweat running into the coal dust on their arms. A trimmer brings a load from the bunker behind them and tips it onto the deck plate. A fireman swings open a furnace door. Heat hits him in the face, shovels, closes, pivots to the next door. 6 furnaces per man. The cycle repeats every 12 minutes. Each fireman shovels 3 tons of coal in a 4-hour watch, 24 tons per fireman per day. Behind Boiler Room 6, in Bunker 6, the fire has been smoldering since Belfast. Barrett's crew has been digging out the burning coal and feeding it into the furnaces for 3 days. By April 14th, the fire is mostly out. The steel bulkhead between the bunker and the boiler room is hot to the touch. Upstairs, in the first-class dining saloon, the passengers eat oysters. They do not know any of these names. They never will. April 14th. All day, the warnings come in. Ship after ship ahead, radioing the same word. Ice. The Caronia. The Baltic. The Mesaba. On the bridge, Captain Smith holds his course, and Titanic holds her speed. 22 knots, straight for the ice field. Late that night, the steamer Californian, stopped dead and ringed by ice, brakes in one last time. The Titanic's operator, buried in passenger telegrams, waves it off, and that warning goes unanswered. Below decks, the engine room knows none of it. The order from the bridge is simple. Hold the pressure so the firemen shovel harder. 11:30 p.m. Watch change in the crow's nest. Frederick Fleet takes the lookout post. The binoculars meant for the nest are not aboard. Lost in transit at Southampton. Fleet looks with his eyes. The sea is glass. The air is below freezing. 11:39 p.m. Fleet sees a shape on the water dead ahead. He rings the bell 3 times, the warning for something dead ahead, and lifts the telephone to the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch hears the call. Helm hard a starboard. Engines full astern. The order reaches the engine room as a flashing red light and 3 bells. In Boiler Room 6, Barrett is talking to Second Engineer John Hesketh.
Bunker 6 is nearly clear, sir. Fires are holding. Good lad. Steady as she...
11:40 p.m.
Shut the dampers!
In Boiler Room 6, the engineer's order cuts through the noise. Barrett turns to his firemen and shouts the same. The men reach for the iron handles to close the air to the furnaces. Then the wall comes apart. Not loud. A low tearing sound running along the starboard side. Then water. Through a slit 2 feet above the deck plates, the ocean pours into Boiler Room 6 like a river. Knee-high in seconds, Barrett moves. The watertight door to Boiler Room 5 is already closing. He runs for it. He goes through. The door seals behind him. On the other side, the men he'd been working beside minutes before are still in Boiler Room 6. Boiler Room 5 is dry. For now. Engineer Jonathan Harvey is there, and he gives Barrett his orders.
Stay with me. Draw the fires, vent the steam, or the cold water hits those boilers and she blows!
Barrett stays. Above them, the ship begins to tilt. On the upper decks, lifeboats are being uncovered. The first one is loaded with 28 women and children. There is room for 65. It is lowered into black water at 12:45 a.m. Below, the engineers work. Joseph Bell directs from the engine control room. Every engineer he has served with for 20 years is down here. None of them will leave. The dynamos turn. The lights stay on across the ship. The dining saloon chandeliers, the corridor lamps, the deck floods so the lifeboats can see what they're doing. The pumps push water out faster than it comes in. For a while. Stokers come up from below in shifts, white with steam burn, faces streaked. They help women into boats. Some are sent back down. The bow is under. The lights flicker. They hold. Jack Phillips, in the wireless room, is still tapping. CQDMGY, CQDMGY. Come quick, danger. This is the Titanic. Below the waterline, the men hear the ocean through the bulkheads. They know exactly how long they have. Above them, the ship was full of light. They were why. No one in the lifeboat saw them. No one ever does. Boiler Room 5 floods. Water rises past Barrett's knees. Harvey gives the order and Barrett runs.
That's it, she's going! Get out, Barrett! Up the ladder! Come with me! Go! Someone has to tell them what we did down here!
Up the engineer's ladder, through the boiler casing, up 6 decks, a deck, starboard side. Only 2 lifeboats left. Lifeboat 13 is being lowered, 65 people aboard. Barrett steps in. As 13 touches water, lifeboat 15 descends above them, about to come down on top. Barrett takes out his knife, cuts the falls. Lifeboat 13 pulls away. 65 people live who would have died. The Carpathia takes them aboard at 4:45 a.m. Barrett climbs the rope ladder by hand. He testifies twice, to the British Inquiry, to the United States Senate. Everything you've heard here, he lived. He returns to Liverpool. He dies of tuberculosis in 1931. 244 men below the Titanic's decks died that night. All 25 engineers. They stayed at their posts, everyone. All 8 electricians. They kept the dynamos turning, both boiler makers. They kept the boilers from exploding. Of the firemen who fed the furnaces, fewer than 50 came home out of more than 150. They kept the lights on for 88 of the 98 minutes between the iceberg and the end. They kept the wireless powered for the same 88. Every minute of light was a minute someone above could find a lifeboat. Every minute of wireless was a minute the Carpathia could keep coming. Most history remembers the larger number. This video is about the smaller one. 706 people survived the sinking. They survived because the men below decks did not stop working. In Liverpool, at the edge of the Mersey, there is a memorial, a trimmer with a shovel, a leading stoker beside him. They have no names because there are too many to fit. You can stand in front of them today. You probably never have.